Hello guys, welcome back to another one. Monza, this time in the Sirocco, if I remember correctly. They absolutely killed this wee Sirocco for us at Monza just because of the tyre wear. Let's see how it goes, but we've got Mr. PG in front of us, qualified in 5th place in this one. And you'll see on the way into the first corner here what happens. I have a memory of, you see how guys like to warm their tyres up here on the way into the first corner, and you'll see how it loses them time as you go in the straight line. You see how much will come up on them there, but after warming their tyres up, they all decide to go lovely and gentle and slow into the first corner on the brakes. So for me, not much sense warming your tyres up if your plan is to be nice and safe in the first corner, which usually is everyone's plan. I'm sure when I get up in the more competitive lobbies, there will be times where I do start feeling like a wee wiggle to warm your tyres up may help a little bit, but at the moment, the level I'm at, it's more just about lifting and being nice and careful on your braking zones. Up into 4th at the moment with Mr. Fernando Alfonso in front of us. Mr. PG strapped back to 6th. And a wee bit of a gap behind us. I felt like this wee car was definitely, it was competitive. It's just quick in a straight line, but as I said, the front tyre wear in this wee Sirocco is an absolute nightmare. And Mr. Max PD seems to have a bit of speed there, right up behind us already. And keep an eye on him, see if he gets a run on us. And there's a lovely big gap behind him, so I would imagine I'd be sitting here thinking, show me your nose and you can have it. There he shows us his nose, and we'll lift off. But he's backed out of it himself. We invited him to take the move there, and there he goes now. He's got the move done on the exit of the chicane. Down to 5th with Mr. PG behind us, a very fast driver that we shall never trust. If you've not seen our Mr. PG Motorsport video, go and have a look at it. It's called Mr. PG, What Happened, I believe, or What Happened Mr. PG, as we make a mistake early days when we're sitting here looking absolutely spot on in the battle for second, and that 1 second penalty is gonna kill us. How far are we going to drop down after serving this? Mr. PG takes it off us. How many more are going to take it off us? We're down to 7th, down to 8th. So from looking very good at the start, it's now looking like it could go all wrong, or it has slightly went wrong. Up to 7th and still in that slipstream. I do believe we only had the one go at this. We know what Monza's like, guys. Yeah, enter a Monza race knowing that you have a 50-50 chance of surviving the first corner. You flip that coin in the air and see how it goes. Do we sneak up another wee spot? We do. That was a nice wee pass there, and up into 6th. Very slow out of this corner. If I remember in the Sirocco, that was the one corner where we were clearly struggling. The first, second and third gear in this wee car seems to struggle. It has a lovely fourth gear, but then when you get up into fifth, it seems to be a wee bit sluggish yet again. Or feels a bit sluggish. A penalty further up ahead of us there. And we must be slightly nervous with Mr. PG behind us, just because of our incidents with him in the past. I definitely can't imagine ever placing myself in a vulnerable position against Mr. PG. To be fair on him, he has drove. We've met him now 2 or 3 times after the incident, and he's drove reasonable with us for sure. We're not sure what got into him the day that he lost the plate, but he has lost the plate, and he showed us in that race that he is not a man to be trusted. We'll never place ourselves on the outside of him or try and do a pass around the outside of him. And of course he didn't even remember us. The next time we met him, we did ask him the question, are we going to race or are we going to have fun again? And he wrote back saying that a certain race was a very poor race for him, but it was clear that he didn't remember us at all, because it wasn't even the race that we were talking about, which was a good thing for us, I suppose. It's better that he doesn't remember us. Still clinging on to 6th at the moment, with a half-second penalty for Mr. Max ahead of us. And we love this. We love Monza. I've always really enjoyed Monza. Probably because it allows slower guys to feel slightly faster than what they really are, just because of that slipstream helping us out. It's all getting a bit tighter now. Back on board as the pressure starts to mount. And we thought that was cheeky. That's correct, we thought that was cheeky from Mr. Dre GPS. We were not happy here, and for sure we make a mistake coming into this next corner, because we're now upset with Mr. Dre, and there's no way we're not passing the 2 of these guys right back again. We're having this no matter what, and we've mistimed our braking, and we try to get stopped, but we do collect Mr. Zarkin. And unfortunately, we both get a penalty for that bit of contact. It should have only been us who got that penalty. That was poor driving from myself and Mr. Zarkin has picked up the 1-second penalty along with ourselves. Apologies for that one, Mr. Zarkin. We did have a bit of a hot head because of Mr. GPS, who thought he'd do a cheeky wee nudge and push us out wide and then take advantage of it. Probably the most frustrating kind of cheekiness that, for me anyway, angers me the most, because it's almost like they usually apologise after these wee nudges and stuff, but I fail to see why an apology comes whenever there's no lift off and hand back of the precision. That is how you apologise. You don't take advantage of pushing someone out wide and then decide I'll apologise after the race, after I've already taken advantage of that whole situation. And we'll lift him back off out of that one. Down to 9th. Oh, Mr. Storm dropping a wheel on the grass, doing well there just to hold on to it. And up in the 7th we go. Does he be nice with us on the way into this one? He does, he keeps his patience, although we get that second chicane pretty pure there. Has he got a run on us? And again, the tyres already going, set of hard tyres, and they're already losing a lot of pace, only on lap 6. Again, no real memory of what the regulations or the compulsory tyres were in this one, guys. Apologies. Hopefully with only doing these replays now, instead of doing all of the replays, as I said in the last video, we're only going to do a replay now on whatever one we accept the points for. Feel free to catch up on all our other efforts on the live stream. Everything is done live, so we're not hiding anything. We're just feeling a bit under pressure with the amount of replays and stuff and the amount of time that we'll get to do these replays. I prefer to perhaps try and get caught up on replays and be a bit more up to date in terms of if we have a Monza race, rather than the replay of that Monza race coming out a week or two later. We'd rather have that replay coming out quite soon after we actually do the race. And we're also going to be having a Samba Bus Championship as well as one make championships that we're going to start trying to do now as well. So that's going to be more replays that we're going to have to try and stay up to date with. We'll see how it all goes. Clinging on to 8th position at the moment. What is our number? Our number's number 2 on the door, so not linky for us. Oh, and Mr. Storm, oh, and again bumper cars. Mr. Storm loses it there, and we unable to get stopped, hit the side of him, and then the car behind us gives us a ram. Mr. Storm's came out of that, but okay, and there's no ridiculous penalties handed out. Oh, well done to Gran Turismo for that one. A Storm almost drops a wheel there and loses it. Eighth place, lap 7 of 14. And again, Mr. Storm, very early on the brakes there. And he's picked himself up a half-second penalty on the exit of that one. And I think again on the way into this one, he takes us by surprise by being very early and gentle on the way into that one. And we're coming in. Yeah, we are indeed. Let's see what kind of tyres we're going to. I'll have a quick skip out of the pits. We're on a set of mediums now, and a car coming up behind us. We're having to squeeze Mr. Storm and try and leave space for the car around the outside as well. Do we manage to hang on to that? No, we don't. He holds his nose there. And we all get away with that as well. Slight contact with no penalties handed out, so that hasn't worked out too bad for us. Mr. Polly. Oh dear, and again, and it hands us a second penalty for that. Another unwarranted penalty for myself. And I'll go round. Do we serve that penalty this lap? It looks like it. On with the skip while we're on our own. A storm dives into the pits. On with the skip. Someone out of the pits. Up in the 9th. And again we'll continue to skip while we're in this bit of space on our own. We've got one guy, Mr. Cove, on our ass. Is he coming for it along here? No, he backs out of that, but I would imagine he'll be helping us along this one for sure. Perhaps not. And again managing to survive it. Up to 8th place now is a remove to be had on Mr. Hazenberg. We'll give him a wee nudge to try and let him know that we don't really want to go for it. He was being very defensive there. And again Mr. Berg making a small mistake there. On with another skip. We're now trying to go round the outside, but Mr. Berg holds it in there. Lovely driving from Mr. Berg to stay clean. I do remember feeling like we've just lost time overall because of the side by side. We would have been a bit quicker if he'd have given that spot up and dropped in behind us. And I do believe again he wants another side by side in this one. Is there anyone else in the pits? 4 laps to go. Oh, and there's a 3-way into this corner. How does this one work out? We'll make a spot and we'll lose a spot. All in the one go. Yet again, on with the skip. And again, a poor first chicane for us. Small penalty picked up by Mr. Cove ahead of us as he serves that penalty. Do we get the run on him? That should be a wee bit cheeky of him coming out there and squeezing us. But we're up into the top 7. On we go with a skip. Back down to 8th, Mr. Cove. And down to 9th. How is this one going to work out for us? 3 to go. We're trying to keep this guy behind, pinned in, so there's nowhere to go. We do not want a 3-way side by side. And again, we were unfortunate there with Mr. Cove. Came back. We did get the cut back on him, but more time lost. And still, and again. We usually love these wee chicanes at Monza. We're usually very, very consistent in them. But in the Sirocco it was difficult. I don't know what it was. We were not enjoying the Sirocco on this track. And we're going to be vulnerable here yet again. Do they get a run on us? I would imagine there's bound to be a run on us there. We do have the inside line. Dropping back one spot. Trying to fight Mr. Cove for that slipstream. And Mr. Cove ends up, he's the one who gets it. And again we get unfortunate with Mr. Cove, almost the same way as he took it the previous lap. Ninth position, and we have Mr. Rick MotoGP 93 behind us now. That's right, we remember this one now. I think Mr. Rick, we must all ask ourselves the question of how dirty is Mr. Rick MotoGP in this one. You will see how dirty he is. He's dirty enough to start making "you so dirty" jokes. You so dirty, you make dog poop look clean, Mr. Rick. You'll see what happens with Mr. Rick on the final lap. Absolutely ridiculous driving from the man. We're not sure what has got into Rick in this one, but you will see some very not even poor, shockingly dirty behaviour from Mr. Rick in this one on the last lap. Thankfully he affected himself a lot more than he affected us, but Rick, we shall struggle now to trust you ever again after your last lap manoeuvres on us in this one. Oh, we've missed our break in there as well as Mr. Cove. And here comes Rick up behind us now. And we'll jump back on board and we'll keep an eye on Rick here, and we'll see. Yet again, our tyres are totally gone. The car does not want to turn for us now whatsoever, and Mr. Rick gets a run on us in this corner here. He comes up and he touches us and he picks himself up a 2-second penalty for that one. And on the last lap, Mr. Rick, how dirty is Mr. Rick? That's how dirty Mr. Rick is right there. My goodness, let's have a look at that one again and shame the man as much as we can. We'll go on board with Rick himself. How do I change? There we go, here we are on board with Mr. Rick, and the dirt is about to go down. Mr. Rick must have got a bit frustrated. Clearly it's Rick's fault for that small bit of contact that picks him up a 2-second penalty, and he thinks to himself, pit manoeuvre. He must think he's a policeman and we're a criminal. And luckily for us, Mr. Rick he gets everything that he deserves and messes up his own race. But Rick, sir, my goodness, no comments for you. Nothing to say to you whatsoever. That was some disgusting behaviour right there on track, and you got what you deserved. We ended up in the top 10 in this one. Thank you guys, and we shall catch you next time.